As part of his solo career, Mark Tremonti has released 5 albums since 2012, and each of those albums features an iconic title track of the same name. However, these songs are not created equal, so today we're ranking Tremonti's album title tracks from worst to best. Let's get something out of the way before we start. Even the worst Tremonti song is still better than most rock songs. This list is entirely relative, and whether you love or hate any of the songs in this video, I think we can all agree that Tremonti doesn't have a bad track in his discography. With that said, let's start out with number 5.
Taking the bottom spot on this list, it's Cauterize from 2015.
The easiest way to describe how this song starts is a gut punch to your ears. You do not want to have your volume cranked up all the way when this one starts, or you could blow out your speakers, or even worse, your eardrums. On the one hand, it's cool that the song is so in your face from the get-go, but on the other hand, it's almost deadly for unaware victims, and it can ruin the experience of listening to the song. If you can get past that initial auditory assault, a good song is waiting for you. The opening riff is one of Mark's heaviest, but it does take a moment to comprehend it because of how jarring the start is. Cauterize hits all of the right beats for an aggressive, powerful third track, but none of its parts feel revolutionary or unique when compared to other Tremonti songs. The one exception to this, though, is the song's solo outro. It's different than anything else you'll hear on this album, and it's a nice break from the loud, distorted guitars before continuing on with the record. Cauterize has very similar sound to other tracks on its record, so unfortunately, it tends to blend in and lose its identity. Don't get me wrong, the djenty guitar riff with the matching double bass in the drums is both distinct and cool, but there's not much else to make the track stand out past that. Fun fact, Cauterize is the only song on this list that wasn't also released as a single for its respective album. Who knows? Maybe there was a reason for that. Moving on to number 4, we have the song A Dying Machine. This song grabs your attention instantly with its loud 3/4 drum intro and aggressive guitar riff. You don't often hear songs in this time signature, so it kind of slaps you in the face and really forces you to pay attention. The song comes from Tremonti's 4th album, which was released in 2018. So it's evident that the band is starting to experiment more in both lyrics and instrumental parts. This whole album is a change of pace from Mark's normal writing, as it was written in tandem with a science fiction novel also called A Dying Machine. For that reason, this song and others from the album feel noticeably different than the rest of Tremonti's works, for better or for worse. Personally, some of my favorite Tremonti songs come from this album, but A Dying Machine is not one of them. It's got a cool drum part and guitar riff, but the song feels a little long and bloated. It's powerful and grand for sure, but some of the sections, they just go on a little longer than needed, like a lot of sci-fi movies. The hard shift during the bridge is a nice auditory break, kind of like the ending of Cauterize, but I would have preferred it to be condensed. By the time it wraps up, 5 minutes have passed, and there's still another 90 seconds to go in this song. I think with a little bit of trimming, this song could have been closer to 5 minutes, still maintained that epic feeling, and been one of Tremonti's best tracks ever written. This next one is probably going to be controversial, so whether you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. 3rd place on this list goes to Dust from Tremonti's 3rd album, released in 2016. And before you break out the torches and pitchforks, hear me out. Dust is undeniably a good song and a fan favorite, but I've never connected with it in the same way as others. I think it has to do with the subject matter. The consensus is that it's about suddenly losing someone that you deeply care about, and thankfully, I've never had that happen to me. I can understand why many people love this song because it expresses those emotions that they've experienced, but since I don't share that same emotional connection with the lyrics, it loses some weight for me. It's one of those tracks that I enjoy listening to every now and then, but I rarely seek it out. Moving past the subject matter though, Dust is one of Tremonti's few power ballads, and it's the only ballad on this list, which does earn it a couple of bonus points. The verses are in 6/4, though they feel more like a bar of 4/4 plus a bar of 2/4. Those extra 2 beats are kind of used like spacers in between each phrase. It creates a very interesting effect, like there's breathing room and time to contemplate between each lyrical idea. And credit where credit is due, Tremonti's guitar in this song is fantastic. His tones and sounds just create the perfect mood for this song, and his weeping guitar solo is just top notch. However, I still feel like there are better title tracks than this one, which is why Dust takes the number 3 spot on this list. The runner-up for this list goes to the title track of Tremonti's debut solo album, All I Was. The song is about Mark reflecting on his younger, more confident self and coming to terms with how much he's changed and been through. Similar to Cauterize, The main riff is played in unison by grungy guitars and double bass from the drums, but rather than an attack on your eardrums with a barrage of sextuplets, the riff is quite syncopated and switches between sixteenths and sextuplets often. This, combined with the fact that the riff is in halftime, gives the song this dark, brooding vibe that I just love. In addition to the awesome riff, the song also has a great double time guitar solo and bridge that honestly just sounds like pure chaos. All I want is technical, gritty, and succinct, but I do wish there was just a little bit more to it. Clocking in at only 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it's noticeably shorter than all of the other songs on this list, so there's just not as much to compare with the other tracks. Combine that with the fact that the chorus is built on the exact same riff as the opening means that the song doesn't have quite as much substance as the others. However, what we do get is incredibly well written and performed, so the song still holds up really well. At the end of the day, this is a small gripe, and it doesn't stop All I Was from being an absolute banger of a track and one of my personal favorites. Before we move on to the last song, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up below. It helps spread the video to a lot more people across YouTube, and I appreciate it a lot. Let's be honest, you could argue back and forth for most of these tracks all day long, but when it comes to Tremonti's newest title track, it's not even a competition. Marching in Time blows every other song out of the water, and it's easily one of the best metal songs ever written in the last 20 years. This whole song is just like one giant mic drop from the entire band, and it's an amazing conclusion to an already awesome record. Marching in Time is the first Tremonti record featuring Ryan Bennett on drums, and holy sh**, is he good. I loved their original drummer, Garrett Whitlock, but Ryan Bennett is on another level. Marching in Time is 7 minutes of metal music at its finest, and one of Tremonti's most musically complex songs as well. It starts out in 6/8, but Mark's guitar parts actually outline a 4/4 polymeter, but then it heats things up even more by switching to 3/4. It gets even better though once they start rapidly switching back and forth, and then you get 6/8, 3/4. But the real cherry on top here is when some of the parts actually outline the 4/4 polymeter on top of the 6/8, 3/4 time signature. That's right, 3 time signatures happening at once. If your brain is melting right now, you're experiencing what I felt when I first heard this song. Some artists will fizzle out and lose their creativity with each release, but as Mark Tremonti marches through time, he just keeps getting better and better. These 5 songs are all iconic, but they're not the only ones worth talking about. Some of Mark's best songs are with his other group, Alter Bridge, like the ones in this video about 5 uplifting songs that are guaranteed to make your day better. Go check it out if you need a little musical pick-me-up, and I'll see you there.